that single 40-minute writing block task, too, is the most common stumbling block.
Oh, absolutely.
It stands between you and your dream university, that essential visa, or that global career opportunity.
The stakes are monumental.
And the painful truth is that the marks people lose, they're often due to a handful of highly avoidable, critical errors. We've distilled those errors into a definitive list.
The 15 traps that stop even talented writers from getting the score they need.
Welcome to IELTS Guide Phil's Deep Dive podcast on YouTube. Our listeners shared a set of absolutely critical resources today, and they contain the hard-won wisdom of an experienced teacher, someone committed to helping dreamers like you conquer this exam.
Right.
So our mission is to transform that list of pitfalls into actionable knowledge, giving you the strategic advantage you need to bypass those traps and, well, boost your score immediately.
And this deep dive is crucial because, let's be honest, writing task 2 is seen as the hardest component.
Yeah.
You have to craft a logical, well-supported argument with excellent structure and grammatical precision.
All while that clock is just mercilessly running down.
Exactly. So we're using this source material to give you the shortcut, to help you focus your study time on eliminating the mistakes that markers are literally trained to spot.
Okay, so if we think of writing an essay as, say, building a house, this first section is all about laying the foundation, getting the blueprint right. So let's start with the fundamental errors in analysis, which, according to the source material, are often the costliest.
That's right. The quickest way to lower your score, and we're talking about dropping an entire band score, is mistake number 1, misanalyzing the question.
The off-topic trap.
The off-topic trap.
Okay, let's unpack this. Why is a slight misinterpretation so catastrophic?
Because it fails the task response criteria immediately. The marker reads your introduction, and if they realize you missed a key element of the prompt or, misinterpreted the type of essay,
Then it doesn't matter how perfect your grammar is.
doesn't matter at all. The rule here is non-negotiable. You have to spend 2 to 3 minutes just analyzing the prompt. You must identify the essay type. Is it opinion, discussion, problem solution, or advantages and disadvantages?
I see. So if the question asks to discuss both views and give your own opinion, and I only spend my time arguing one view.
You might as well have written half an essay.
Right.
Precisely. You have to address both perspectives, and then your final clear stance must appear in the conclusion. If you only argue one side, your response is fundamentally incomplete.
And speaking of incompleteness, that brings us to another trap in this planning phase. The source material calls it mistake 11, ignoring multi-part questions.
Yeah, we're grouping these thematically because this is another mistake that happens before you even start writing.
And it's just self-sabotage.
It is. It's a classic form of it, and it happens because candidates rush that initial analysis. If the prompt has 2 parts, say, discuss the causes of plastic pollution and propose solutions,
You have to cover both equally.
you have to give distinct, detailed coverage to both. Candidates are heavily penalized for incomplete responses. If you spend 90% of your time on causes and 3 sentences on solutions, you haven't completed the task.
Okay, so analysis is done. We know exactly what to write, but now we hit mistakes 3 and 4, skipping the plan and creating an unbalanced structure.
Ah, yes.
So many people skip the plan because they think they're saving 5 minutes.
And that 5 minutes is an investment, not a cost. It pays huge dividends in clarity and coherence.
Right.
Skipping the plan, well, it inevitably results in disorganized, rambling ideas and arguments that might even contradict themselves by the 3rd paragraph.
So you need those 5 minutes.
You need them to brainstorm 2 to 3 key ideas and outline the specific supporting details you'll use.
And how should that planning then manifest into structure? What's the ideal roadmap?
A balanced 4-paragraph format. It's recommended because it's so time efficient and it meets the task achievement criteria perfectly.
So an introduction.
Introduction with your paraphrase and thesis, then body paragraph 1 for your first main idea, body paragraph 2 for the second, and then the conclusion.
A summary and a final thought.
Exactly. And this fits the overall time management strategy perfectly. 5 minutes to plan, 30 minutes to write, and 5 minutes for review.
And tying structure back to time, that brings us to the last planning mistake, mistake 13. Word count mismanagement. We all know the penalty for writing under 250 words is harsh.
Oh, yeah.
But is there a real penalty for writing too much?
Yes. There is. While there's no official penalty for exceeding the limit, excessive length, say writing over 350 or 400 words.
That's a red flag for the examiner.
It is. It
Yeah.
usually indicates you spent too much time on secondary points or repeating yourself or just rambling, which hurts your coherence score.
And you probably didn't have time to review.
Exactly. You rushed the final review phase. The sources suggest aiming for a safe, developed range of about 270 to 290 words. That proves you can develop your ideas fully without risking disorganization.
Okay, so the blueprint is laid out. Now we move into section 2, which is all about structural integrity.
Right, making sure the argument walls don't crumble.
And this starts with mistake 2, the weak thesis statement.
This is where the core of your argument just collapses. A vague or overly broad thesis confuses the reader. It doesn't provide a roadmap.
So the thesis is vital.
It's vital. It has to be clear, it has to directly address the question, and crucially, it must outline the main points for your body paragraphs. It sits right at the end of the introduction.
Can you give us an example that really illustrates that clarity?
Sure, think about the difference. A poor thesis just says something like, the internet has both positive and negative effects.
Very generic. Tells you nothing.
Tells the marker nothing new. But a strong, detailed thesis would be, while the internet has improved global communication, it has also contributed to social isolation by reducing face-to-face interactions.
That's immediately better. It lays out the two topics, global communication and social isolation, that your body paragraphs will cover.
Exactly. It's an organizational promise to the reader, and that clarity helps you avoid mistake 7, undeveloped ideas.
Right, where you state an interesting point, but then just leave it hanging.
Yeah, you fail to elaborate or provide support. The marker is left with a half-finished thought.
The solution recommended here is simple, but it's really powerful. The PEE technique, point, explain, example. But if I'm trying to hit that 270-word target, am I not at risk of writing too much with that?
That's a good question. The PE technique is about quality of development, not quantity. You have to be concise.
So state the point clearly.
Right. Then the explanation elaborates on the why or how, and the example should be brief and specific, giving tangible evidence.
Let's use the source example to show that conciseness in action.
Okay, so the point. Online education offers remarkable convenience. The explanation. This allows learners to study flexible hours from any location, eliminating commuting.
And the example.
The example. For instance, during recent global crises, many universities successfully maintained operations by shifting their entire curriculum to online platforms. See? It's specific, not generic, and it brings the argument home.
Moving on, we tackle mistake 9, overgeneralizing, making unsupported claims.
This is sort of the opposite error. You're trying to sound authoritative, but you lack evidence, and it just weakens your credibility.
This happens with sweeping statements like, everyone agrees that.
Yeah.
Or, it is obvious that.
Right, and the marker knows this is just unsubstantiated fluff. Every claim you make needs specific support, data, or a grounded example. If you lack hard evidence, you need to qualify your language.
So use phrases like, many experts suggest that.
Or, there is increasing evidence to indicate. It shows nuance.
And finally, in this section, we get to mistake 12, weak or incomplete conclusions. This is your last chance to impress the examiner.
And if you mess it up, that polished essay just ends on a flat note. A strong conclusion must do two things. Summarize the main points without just repeating the introduction.
And offer a final thought or implication.
Right. And the absolute hard and fast rule here, avoid introducing any new ideas in the conclusion. If you do, the marker just sees that point as undeveloped.
We've established the structure, built a powerful argument. Now we move to the presentation, the layer where markers score your lexical resource and coherence.
This is where so many excellent ideas are ruined by poor execution.
Starting with mistake 5, using informal or colloquial language.
It's an academic test. Your register has to be formal. Using slang, abbreviations, or conversational shortcuts is a direct deduction from your lexical resource score.
So what are some common slip-ups we should get rid of right away?
Well, replacing casual phrases like a lot of, kids, or gonna. Use formal alternatives.
Such as a significant number of, or children.
Or various aspects. Just maintain a professional, detached tone throughout the whole 40 minutes.
Following that, we face mistake 6, lack of cohesion and coherence. This is when the essay reads like a series of disconnected points. The flow is choppy.
Cohesion is the glue. Markers need to see how your ideas relate to one another without effort. You have to consciously use cohesive devices to link ideas smoothly.
Let's list some of those specific transitional tools.
For addition, use things like Moreover, in addition, furthermore,
Right.
for contrast, deploy. However, on the other hand, although,
And for evidence.
when introducing evidence, stick to. For instance, for example, and remember, every single paragraph has to begin with a clear topic sentence. It sets the stage.
Next up is mistake 8, repetitive vocabulary and sentence structures. You might have great content, but if the language is flat, you limit both your lexical resource and grammatical range scores.
Severely, repetition just suggests a limited range. The fix is two-pronged. First, expand your vocabulary. Use synonyms, paraphrase skillfully.
Avoid using the same word 5 times in one paragraph.
Please. And second, and this is just as important for your grammatical range score, you have to vary your sentence structures.
But wait, if simple sentences are clear and compound sentences show some complexity, isn't that enough?
It'll get you a moderate score, sure, but to push into band 7 and above, you have to show controlled use of complex sentences. Markers are looking for proof you can handle subordination.
So, a simple sentence. Technology has changed education. Clear but basic.
Compound. Technology has changed education and it has made learning more accessible. That's better. Two connected ideas.
And the essential complex version. Although technology has fundamentally changed education, this shift has also led to some challenges regarding screen time.
That subordinate clause, although that's what proves your grammatical control. However, trying too hard to achieve that complexity leads right into mistake 10.
Incorrect use of complex sentences.
Yes. The ambition is great, but the errors invalidate the entire attempt. You can end up with a lower score than if you had just stuck to simple, error-free sentences.
Accuracy always trumps complexity. What are the common pitfalls here beyond that infamous although, but error?
We see things like dangling modifiers, where a phrase doesn't logically connect to the subject, or fused sentences, where two ideas are just smashed together without proper punctuation.
So you have to combine ideas logically.
And make sure every part of the sentence is grammatically sound. For instance, fixing the error in, although the internet is useful, but it can also be dangerous, to the correct form. Although the internet is useful, it can also be dangerous. It's a small change that makes all the difference.
All right, we've covered analysis, structure, argument, and language. But even the best ideas are sunk by ignoring the basics. This brings us to mistake 14, ignoring grammar and punctuation.
This is that foundation we mentioned earlier. Frequent errors in the core mechanics, tenses, articles, subject-verb agreement, poor punctuation, they cause significant deductions.
So this layer has to be solid.
It has to be solid before a marker can properly reward your sophisticated vocabulary or complex structures. This is where your 5 minutes of planning pays off again, because you can focus on accuracy during the writing phase.
And the ultimate self-sabotage move, mistake 15. Not reviewing the essay. We've allocated time for it. But why is this final step so often skipped?
Candidates are just exhausted. They're stressed after 30 minutes of writing, but skipping this final check is so reckless.
You have to use those last 3 to 5 minutes.
For active proofreading, don't just skim for flow. Look specifically for those obvious mechanical errors. Spelling, grammar, punctuation.
And what's the most important check during that final review?
Confirming that all parts of the initial question have been addressed. If you misanalyze the prompt, that was mistake 1, this is your last chance to maybe add a sentence or two to ensure task completion. That final step is your assurance policy.
So synthesizing all 15 points, the overall guidance from these sources is crystal clear. Focus on careful planning, thorough idea development, and consistent grammatical accuracy. This deep dive has given you the strategic knowledge required to stop losing those valuable avoidable marks.
The information is now in your hands. This resource, it provides the specific checklist that markers use to panelize essays. The key to translating this knowledge into a higher score is practice.
Consistent practice under time conditions.
Yes, and actively seeking constructive feedback.
Here's a provocative thought for you to carry forward. IELTS Guide Phil suggested 3 distinct time allocations. 5 minutes planning, 30 minutes writing, 5 minutes reviewing. Think honestly, which one of those 3 is easiest for you to skip right now?
That's a great question.
And how much could dedicating just 5 focused minutes to that single neglected step be your biggest score accelerator?
That's where the real gain is found. If you want to dive deeper into these topics and refine your technique with more insights from the source material, there are many more resources waiting for you.
We direct listeners and viewers to the related original full blog post at IELTSGuidePhil.com, where you can read the details of these 15 mistakes in full.
You can also find more deep dive episodes on IELTS Guide Phil's YouTube podcast and more IELTS video explainers on his YouTube channel. Plus, connect with more resources and support in IELTS Guide Phil's Facebook community. All links for these resources are available conveniently in the YouTube description below.
And if you are ready to stop guessing and start getting professional, personalized refinement for your essay writing and speaking, viewers should comment now to avail of IELTS Guide Phil's online writing and speaking coaching service. We're here to help you nail that target score.